Speak Out, Be Seen. I am Janine Savient, and my co-host behind the scenes is Heather Alice Drake, and with us today we have Kaaren Guelfi. Welcome to you, Kaaren.
Hi Janine. Hi Heather.
So lovely to have you with us, and all the way from Perth, is that correct, in Australia?
Yes, I'm not actually in Perth, I'm more in the country, yes, Mandurah.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Yep.
Now, I'll just read out your bio for the viewers to get a feel for you. Kaaren is a true master healer, alchemist, and shaman. Kaaren offers healing guidance and empowerment to her clients. Her gentleness and compassion move people swiftly beyond their own awareness to obtain huge transformational shifts mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Kaaren believes the loss of her 9-year-old brother was the beginning of her healing career, and at age 17 she began her career as a registered nurse. Kaaren began her spiritual journey in 1980. A vision while attending a planetary transformation and leadership program in the Blue Mountains of Colorado, USA, saw Kaaren and her husband Adrian return to Australia to create Mohina, a powerful and sacred healing retreat on their property in southeast of Perth, Western Australia. Kaaren runs 3, 6 and 9-month live-in programs here, allowing people to reconnect with their roots, the land, and their ancestors. Kaaren and Adrian have run the retreat now for 13 years, and people from all over the world visited Mohina to heal and experience the unique energies there. So in 2004, Kaaren and Adrian attended an eco-village training live-in workshop at Finehorn in Scotland, enabling them to expand their vision of Mohina. In 2008 and 2009, Kaaren completed a diploma of holistic counselling, enabling her to weave her shamanism, healing, and intuition throughout her treatments. In 2011, she completed a specialist course in hypnotherapy. In 2012 and 13, Kaaren and Adrian started an exciting journey, selling their house and farm to hit the road and follow their guidance to travel around Australia. While doing this, Kaaren completed a 12-month New Zealand flower essence course, which deepened her connection to nature, plants, and the land, and was very transformative on many levels. As they travelled, Kaaren incorporated her unique healing techniques: sound, sacred geometry, spirit doctors, and forensic healing to run workshops, healing, and sound evenings under the stars. She has met so many wonderful souls in her travels and hopes she has touched many, many hearts. It is Kaaren and Adrian's dream to set up another retreat when they have finished their travels, but this time with like-minded others, providing a safe, holistic and healing environment that is sustainable and self-sufficient. This will happen when the time is right and with the creation of Mohina. Beautiful. Thank you, Kaaren. It's lovely to get to know you a little.
Thank you.
So I would like you to start today by sharing your creation of Mohina and the trust that went with this, in the creation of this, because I've never heard of this before, so I'm really intrigued, and I'm sure the viewers will be as well, to get a feel for Mohina.
Okay. Well, on the transformational planetary leadership program that we did in Colorado, Verna Yater had a beautiful retreat up in the mountains there, and we did lots of inner work and lots of inner healing up there, and we got a vision, my husband and I, to create Mohina, and we thought that once we got back that it would take years to create. No, Spirit had other ideas, and it just happened. From the moment we got back, people were asking us if we could actually run workshops there. One of the girls we went over with, she started running some programs there just in our garage out the back. People loved the land, and from then just people arrived. The medicine wheel was created One of the guys from America, he came down one weekend and he said, how about we create a medicine wheel? On our property of 3,000 acres, we had the most beautiful quartz, huge stone quartz crystals. And so we created the medicine wheel with that. And it was a huge medicine wheel, not just a small one. People could lay in there. We did a lot of transformational work in there. We created with, we connected with the ancestors. We connected with the land in there. The next person that arrived was a guy from Perth. Again, he'd been over to America with us, and he assisted us to create a sweat lodge. So we had many, many sweat lodges and many, many transformations within the sweat lodge. And that was another part of what we created. Another time, a guy came down and created this most beautiful gazebo within a chakra garden that we had created. And we used all of these things on the land. We created power towers to generate energy all over the land, to bring healing to the land and to go out further as well. We created a labyrinth that people could walk, get their own insights, and that was connected to the Egyptian sort of energies. So everything was connected to something, and the medicine wheel was the soul centre that everything was created and connected to. So, yeah.
Wow, it sounds like a beautiful piece of paradise on an energetic level as well as the physical level.
It was, and it was really a matter of trust. Every little thing that we created came at the right time, and that's what I say, everything comes in right timing. Even the accommodation that we provided there, a man just showed us all these, well, they were sort of mining unit huts that they no longer wanted, and we got them for a very reasonable price and moved them onto the farm, and people painted the most beautiful angelic scenes and shamanic scenes in the rooms, and yeah, everything that we created was energized so that the people could feel it.
Yes, divinely orchestrated by the sound of it, the whole thing.
It was, because I'd only just started my journey into spirituality. Being a nurse, everything was either black or white, or, you know, it was either real or not. For me to step into the shamanic and the spiritual side of things was a matter of trust, and really I had to step right out of the box.
Yes, yes, I understand that. And so you say that your healing journey began with the passing of your younger brother, and I wondered if you could share some of that.
Yeah, just a little about that. I was 16 at the time when my brother got burnt to death in a haystack fire on the farm. In that day, there was no counselling. Nothing was dealt with. We were sent back to boarding school, and that was just the way. You pushed it under the carpet, and that's what happened. But 10 years later, of course, the grief that was never dealt with reared its ugly head, and I was presented again with, and I think with spirit. I started to run a little nursing post down in the country, and I was doctor, dentist, therapist, counsellor, whatever, to everyone in the little town. So I provided it all. But I'd only just sort of started there, and I'd been there 3 months, and I was called out to an emergency where a guy was burnt to death again. And of course, it just brought everything up. And both scenes, my brother was burnt to death at Easter. This guy was burnt to death at Easter as well. And it just like triggered everything. I went into probably a little bit of a breakdown, I would say. But from a breakdown comes a breakthrough. And it just enlightened me. And I started on learning REIKI and all sorts of other things, which led me to where I am today. So thanking my brother, not for passing, but for all of the learning that I've got and all the teaching along the way. It's been very transformational.
Do you feel your brother's spirit with you walking the pathway all these years?
Always. And it was funny, when he passed over, the night that he passed over, because everyone was in grief, I had this vivid message from him, was, Karen, I'm all right. Tell the family I'm all right. And I never did, because they were too much in their grief and I just thought I was making things up. But now I know, yes, he did give me that message.
Yes. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful journey to share with us. Thank you. Thank you. So are you and your husband Adrian still on the property of Mohina, or have you moved on?
No, we've just recently sold it. We've just sold the last little bit. And I think, and I always knew, it was a learning platform for us as we created each energy centre and brought the people to the land, or the people came to us. I always knew in the back of my mind that it was just a learning thing for us. Yes. And yeah, we were very privileged to have all of that, and our dream is to set another one up somewhere down the track, but in a community way, not have to do it all ourselves. Yes. I think it's so important to bring community together. There's so many brilliant healers out there. There's so many brilliant self-sustainable people. I want it all self-sustained. And visiting Findhorn, it taught us so much of what you can do as a community, because they had organic gardens, they had rose gardens, they had self-sustainable houses, and everything was all, brought together. And that's our dream, is to come into community and do that.
How beautiful that you managed to visit Findhorn in 2004, Karen. That's a dream of mine, to actually do that one day as well. It's a beautiful example, isn't it, of where we're headed?
It is, yeah, and that was exactly, virtually how Mohina was created, just like Eileen Caddy did it in those days, like way back there. It was total trust. Yeah.
Yes. Again, divinely orchestrated.
It was, yeah. And
yes.
It's just magnificent now. Make sure you do go and visit. It's brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. I fully intend to. One day when I can find the space and the time to do that. So, Karen, you have so many modalities under your belt. I'll just read them out here. You're a Reiki master, energy healer, forensic healer, spiritual doctor channel, DNA memory clearing, holistic healer, sacred geometry, aromatherapy, hypnotherapy, earth healing, essence therapy, registered nurse, sound therapy, crystal bowl, sound healing chambers, and workshop and group facilitator. Wow.
And then the Pachacuti Misa's a new one too. Yep.
Yes. So I was going to ask you if you could just share with the viewers a bit about some of these modalities, the lesser known ones, like, for instance, forensic healer for a start. If you could tell us a bit about that. What is it you do?
Well, with forensic healing, it's almost like being a forensic scientist, I suppose. That would be the nearest description. And what we do is, I say someone will come to me and I'll tune into them beforehand, and I pick up different things. So it'll be like the archetype that's ruling them at that point in time, what's interfering with, they usually give me a sentence or something that's blocking them or what they want to work on. So the archetype that's ruling that, then there'll be negative life patterns that are ruling that, and negative emotions, then positive emotions, and then there'll be all sorts of other things that I'll tune into, and even into going right down into the aura chakra matrix, and then that gives me a little bit of a reading as to what I need to deal with, and then there's a heap of different corrections that I'll use to bring them back into balance. So with what I already know, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and all of my other modalities. It all brings the forensic healing into a deeper release for the person.
Wow. Sounds incredible. Sounds incredible. And it's the first time I've actually ever heard of it. So,
oh, is it? Yeah.
Yes,
it's a very powerful modality. Mariso Russo brought it into the fore, and she's brought many, many modalities into sort of the one, but it's very quick, it's transformational, and it even goes into releasing curses and spells and really deep, deep stuff that is in the unconscious.
Yes, yes. Oh, powerful. So the channeling the spirit doctors, I have heard of this before. I know of a couple of others who channel the spirit doctors as well. And I'm wondering, are they the same doctors, or does each channel have their own group of doctors? Can you talk a wee bit about that, Kaaren?
Yeah, well, my good friend Bev Edwards is another one that does the spirit doctors, and we both learnt from Verna Yater in America, and she taught us how to channel them. Originally, there was usually about 8 to 9 spirit doctors that used to come through. Now it has magnified with the increase in energies. So we may bring in anything from doctors, dentists, psychologists, all sorts, anything. Even the ancestors now, I find, are coming in. Even some of the star people are coming in and doing different dimensional shifts and changes. So the energy has changed from when we were channeling them in the 1980s until now. And the range of healings that people are getting are just transformational. It's just amazing. And what we do is we channel, we are the open or hollow bone for the doctors to come through. So we open the energies up for them to come through, and then we touch the person on the forehead, and we have 2 catches. They go down on the floor, and then the teams of doctors come in and work on each person. And I sit back, I just hold the energy, and I can actually see what's physically happening to each person. And it can be anything from blood transfusions to colour therapies to, even psychological things. People who are in deep depressions will just snap out. Bones, muscles, organs can be healed. It's just amazing.
Gosh, that's quite astounding, isn't it? So do they do psychic surgery as well?
Yep. Psychic surgery as well.
Wow.
Anything, whatever can be done on this physical plane, they can do way more.
Wow, I can imagine you have seen some miracles performed right in front of your eyes.
Definitely, yes. Yeah.
And so what about the DNA memory clearing?
I use the crystal bowl for that, and I do my own voice sound as well. So that's channeled. So each person that has DNA memory clearing, it'll be taken back right to 0 point when everything was clear and pure. And then the sound does the work, and my sound as well will do the work, and it just lifts off so that the DNA can come back into whole and pure and to the original blueprint.
Gosh, it's amazing. It's amazing work that you're doing, Kaaren. So I just would like to read a piece of your bio out here and have a chat about it. So in 2016, you travelled to the US to attend a workshop with Don Oscar Quezada. Thank you.
Yep.
A Peruvian shaman, and you learnt the Pachacuti Mesa tradition. And in your words, you have got here, your aim is to teach others this heartfelt and deep tradition, allowing healing web of love to be created around the world, a connection of the rainbow tribe. I absolutely loved that sentence, and I was wondering if you could talk with us a bit about who Don Oscar Quezada is, and apart from the fact we know he's a
shaman.
I haven't even had a drink either. And what the Pachacuti Mesa tradition actually is.
Okay. Well, Don Oscar Quesada is a brilliant man. He studied in Orthodox, through university and all of that, but he's also studied with the traditional shamans over many, many years, and he's had two shaman teachers through his life. When one of his shaman teachers died, he made Don Oscar Quesada promise that he would bring his teachings, which were always hidden only with the shamanic tribes were they allowed to be used. They were never allowed to be brought out into like humanity or to the white people as such. But he asked Don Oscar Quesada to bring it out into humanity because he knew that it was time for the Rainbow Tribe to reconnect and to bring that healing web right around the planet, around to assist the planet and to assist humanity. So Don Oscar Quesada said, yes, he would do that, not knowing for 1 minute how he could do such a huge thing, but it all as divine timing and, universal flow happens. He's created this magnificent course that can be done online with much help from many others. And all of the teachings that he has learned, he has put down so that we can have like a weekly session with him. And then we have a week to prepare and learn and practice all of the tradition. And we did that over 9 months. And that was brilliant. And then I went at the end of that 9 months and did a live-in course just to finish it off and concrete it. Over the last 6 months, I've been doing a master course on that. He's only allowed the people that have done the 9-month course to come into that. So then we can actually teach it.
Okay. And when you work with this tradition, how does it look for the client?
Well, we actually have what we call our MESA set up. So we have ARTE, which is ARTES, for each direction, so north, south, east and west. And then in the centre we have what we call a Misarumi, and that connects the above and the below, the left, the right, and all that is in between, the past, present and future. So we draw on those energies. It's a bit like the medicine wheel, if you know the energies of the medicine wheel, which I used to use and I still use, but you're calling in all of those archetypes, the arties, the animals that work with all of those, the directions. So it's bringing all of those in together, and you work with the client with those. And again, with all of my other stuff, it's all, I don't just pick one or the other. I use the many modalities and bring in which each person needs.
Yes,
so you go sound.
Sorry?
You can work with sound with all of those. So I
yes.
use my drums and my rattles and all of that as well.
Yes. So you assess your client when they come to you, and then I guess you would say you work your own flavour by bringing in any modality, and I mean everything that you have learnt, Kaaren, you would incorporate your own knowing and who you are into each thing, each modality, wouldn't you? So that it really is your flavour.
And yes, and the clients that come to me are very much open to the flow, and I always say to them, is there something specific that you want? And they usually give me, something that they want to work on, but they say go with the flow. I'm happy with whatever you bring in, and so I just go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. So whereabouts are you situated at the moment, Kaaren?
Well, right at this very minute, I'm in Albany because my husband and I are doing a reconnection to all our family sort of plots. So we're actually going home via Mohina because we want to say a final goodbye, and I want to do a little despacho ceremony there, which is part of the Pachacuti Mesa, just to give thanks to the land, and for us being the caretakers of that land. So, and to give a final goodbye. It's been a long and hard sort of surrendering it and giving it to others, because we were so connected to the heart of that land.
Yes, yes. So did you decide it was time to move away because you could feel energetically and spiritually that it was time?
Definitely, yep. Yes. I felt it was done. What we'd done there, it was done. But the disconnecting was harder because we needed to shut all of those energy centres down. The power towers still exist there, so the new people that have taken the different areas of the land up still have a power tower on each section, which is interesting. But the others we needed to shut down, because if people didn't know how to use them correctly, it was
Can imagine if there was somebody on the land that one of the portals hadn't been shut down, and they looked out their window one day and saw a craft maybe coming through a portal. Or These things happen.
They do. And just walking on the land, it was so energised. It would bring so much up for people. So, you know, we didn't want the new owners all sort of having their own processes every 5 minutes.
Yes, of course. So right now, Kaaren, you and Adrian, what is your plan for now before you start the new community or start heading into that?
Well, we've been on the road now for 4 years, travelling around Australia, and I do my work as I go around, and the right people come, you know, that need my energy, and I'll run workshops as I need to, and I've run some fabulous ones right up the north of Australia. I don't know whether you've been right up to the north. It's just beautiful land, and under these massive boab trees I've been able to do sound healings and, you know, just connect people back to the land, and the land just talks to you up there. So I've had lovely experiences, met some beautiful people as I've been around, and we want to do that for maybe another 1 or 2 years, but I'm starting to feel the pull of the land starting to call me. I'm not sure where we'll be called to. I love New Zealand. I've got a son in New Zealand, and I love over the east, around Queensland, that sort of area. But look, Spirit will show us where it's meant to be, and I'm in complete trust again.
Yes. And if a viewer was listening to this interview today and had a real pull to put a group together for you to host, well, they would host, but for you to facilitate, do you go to people that have groups ready to do this sort of work?
I would love to travel and, you know, teach people wherever that be. Yes, for sure. I'm certainly open to that.
Yes. And what about over the internet? Do you work over the internet with your clients as well?
Yes, I do many Skype sessions, or I do phone sessions. With my hypnotherapy, I do people in New Zealand for quit smoking by a phone session, and it works beautifully. And, you know, even my sound and all that sort of stuff I do over the phone or by Skype. Yeah.
Yes. So. Oh, that's fabulous. That's very good to be able to say that, so that people know that you know, if they feel a pull to connect with you, it's a relatively easy thing to do with the technology that we have today, or that you're willing to travel to them if there's a good group wanting that. So.
Yep. That's my husband walking around in the background.
Yes, I can see him. And actually, speaking of your husband, Adrian, it sounds to me, reading your bio and also from the way you've been speaking today, that you have an incredibly supportive partner there and a fabulous partnership with your husband.
I have. He's snuck off now, but yes, I have. If I didn't have him, you know, Mohina was created because he was open to the vision. Yes. And yes, he has been very supportive, and he does all my catching for the spirit doctors, and and he sits in with the groups. And one of the comments that people make about him is he has this Native American Indian presence around him. So he's got this calmness. He's very connected to the land, and people feel safe with him. And that
Yes.
was one of the things that we wanted to create at Mohina, was a safe place, somewhere where people could just drop and connect in with the land and feel safe, feel nurtured, and feel comfortable, because we did a lot of work with people that had had abuse, deep abuse issues, and they went away feeling safe, and they
Yes.
kept that in their bodies and in their hearts.
Yes, how beautiful. I get the feeling, Karen, that when you facilitate a group, there is many, many, many more in that room than just the physical ones that are sitting with you.
That's it, yeah. We call them in, as many as we can, just to
Yes.
support each and every person there.
And from the full spectrum, by the feel of it too, from the cosmos as well as deep within the earth and everything in between. It feels so. You've got a broad and deep connection.
That's right. We draw up from the earth and down from above, and anyone in between that can help as well.
Yes, yes. It's been absolutely a privilege and a pleasure to share time with you today, Karen. And just to let the viewers know that all your credentials, your website, all your links will be below this interview for them to be able to get a hold of you. And from Heather behind the scenes and myself, we both thank you so much for being here.
And I thank both you and Heather for getting out there and promoting all of us, and just so much love and blessings to you both. And I'm just going to finish with Wilka, 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 Wiriko Chong, Nunai.